And joining me first on the show is Professor Rakesh Sinha, former MP and an author and someone who understands the BJP and RSS perhaps much better than most of us. Professor Rakesh Sinha, at 45, Nitin Nabin is the youngest BJP president. For a party which was found only in 1980, what does this really mean? Is this the BJP sending a message particularly to the grand old party of India, that is the Congress, that they have to really look at Gen Z and that it can be done only if you have a young party president?
You know, this is a great moment for Indian democracy because Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has made a significant transformation in democratic thinking. That issued the young man, Honorable President like Nitin Nabin ji, can lead the largest party of the world. You rightly pointed out that this is also a message for the opposition parties, including the Congress party. There are two regions. They believe in Generation J, but that Generation J is confined to their family. Rahul Gandhi calls himself Generation J. Tejashwi Yadav calls himself Generation J. Stalin's son calls himself a Generation J. But this is a message to the opposition parties and their support base. General J does not mean confining to the hierarchy in the family. It consists the largest support base of the party. That's why I say that Honorable President Nitin Nabin ji is not merely a party president of the young age. He is a reference point for Indian democracy. And second point, I want to point out that Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has a vision of the developed democracy, just like a Vixit Bharat, Vixit Lok Tantra. And that Vixit Lok Tantra means that if you want to transform the country, the young generation must come and they should have confidence. Indian democracy has been the victim of the your lordship. The kind of political zamindari for decades and decades of the people, and in the name of experiences, in the name of their support base, they used to control the political system across the ideological and political spectrum. This is the message of the millions of the youths of the country. This enhances the confidence of the people. If they can lead in the field of technology, if they can lead in the field of economy, if they can lead in the field of culture and literature, then why can't they lead in the field of politics? Another point of that is very significant, which people generally don't discuss, that Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has said that 1 lakh youths who don't have their political background, means their family political background, they must be prepared to lead the country in different, right from panchayat to the parliament. These are the significant ingredients of the great Modi vision of democracy. Okay. I call it the great Modi vision of democracy.
Okay. Professor Rakesh Sinha, here is the BJP saying that they are leading by example. But as someone who understands the history of this party well, give us some interesting anecdote of what does this generational shift mean. I'm asking that question because I was speaking to one of the senior leaders of the party and they were giving me examples of how Venkaiah Naidu became the party president one day. Then it was the name of Mr. Nitin Gadkari. These were names that came out of the blue. So, for all those who were making guesses that who will be the next BJP president, here is someone who is coming from the state which has already been won by the BJP. And he has been given that role, you know, and at a time when there was a lot of speculation that will the new BJP president be coming from southern part of India, because BJP is looking at expanding its footprints in southern part of India.
You know, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji believes in the convention in the party, and political party more important is convention than the rules in black and white. I am giving you some anecdotes that in 1973, Lal Krishna Advani ji became the party president. in Janasangh.
Janasangh,
And
yes.
that time Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji was a towering personality, and after him Advani ji became, Advani ji was not a national of that stature. But that time he was selected, and they got the larger endorsement of the party. Vijay Raje Scindia ji, Sundar Singh Bhandari ji, a large number of people, Jagannath Rao Joshi ji were the very towering personalities. Then the Janasangh accepted the new generation, the change. Amit Shah ji, he came from Gujarat, he became party general secretary and then took over as the party president. And you see the kind of strength he has given to the party by his hard work and the commitment to the party. Nobody calls him a person from Gujarat. He is as dear to a person in Assam and Bihar as dear to Gujarat. So I think that party is run by a convention, and that convention is not necessarily to be discussed in the public and the press. So a continuous process of consultation. Okay. And as I believe that Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has a cross verification of the people. And in that regard, the Honorable President Nitin Nabin ji has been selected not because that he is a only young person, he has impeccable character. And in politics, he is a second generation. His father was a MLA and was a very respected figure in Bihar. He died died after that. He took an end. Not a single black spot in his career. So here Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has set an agenda for next quarter of century, not for the BJP only, but for the Indian politics and Indian democracy.
Okay. Professor Rakesh Sinha, since you are saying that the BJP is preparing itself for perhaps Vixit Bharat mission of the Prime Minister, which will be for 2047. My question is, what happens to leaders who are in their 50s and 60s? If a 45-year-old is now the party president, it is also about ensuring that the chain of command is, flows properly. How will that work out?
You know that there is a difference between BJP and other parties. BJP means a mission. That mission is not the mission for the power, but mission for ideological transformation. Whatever we have done, we find that only 20-30% we could achieve in the ideological advancement of the country. It is not in concern of the ideological advancement of the BJP. BJP is completely an ideological party. Our advancement of the country on the question of majority and minority, on the question of democratic setup of the country, on the question of a transformation in the institutions, those institutions which were formed by Nehruvian regime, they still carry the legacy of the Nehruvian regime and the colonial legacies. And other thing that you see, the Prime Minister has said two important things in 2025. Once he said that decolonization of the mind of Indian mind in next 10 years. That is a big agenda for all the ex-colonies. This is the first time a Prime Minister or a statesman is giving agenda for 10 years after almost after the independence, 7 decades of independence. Okay. This is important. Okay. That's why I say, when a person becomes the party president, you see Rajnath ji, the former party president, Amit Shah ji, former party president, Nitin Gadkari ji, former party president, and JP Nadda ji, all 4 party presidents were there. So it giving power to the party worker. Okay. A party worker at the grassroots, with the modest handling of the people. I have not met a single person who said that Nitin Nabin ji had some arrogant behavior. He's a man with a very modest behavior, very modest approach to the politics and the people. That's why his selection is being welcomed across the country.
Okay, fine. Rakesh Sinha, thank you so much for joining us.